into that some more, but in focusing on the chef ownership type of
Yeah.
thing. So tell us about your background. How did you start when you became a
Yeah.
chef? Where did you come from in your background?
So my culinary training was done in Italy. I
Yeah,
trained.
that's a trend today.
Is that what
Yes.
everybody else? So I trained in Tuscany at a Pisces Culinary Institute, and when I came back, I started as a personal chef, and things kind of grew from there. Then people started asking, "Can you do a party for 30? Can you do a party for?" And now we're up to
So
hundreds
private
and
chef
hundreds.
kind of thing.
Right.
Okay.
And as it grew, it became apparent to me that there wasn't a huge group of people that were doing seasonally, locally sourced catering. But we had great resources here in Rhode Island.
Absolutely.
Crazily enough, everything's within our fingertips, literally. So it developed from there, and Ashley came to work for me, and she really helped develop the brand. The brand is as much hers as it is mine.
That's awesome to hear.
And so she develops menus with other chefs that have been in the kitchen for a while, with director of catering, and of course everybody that works back there is just as valuable.
So you went from doing the private dining side
Yep.
straight into the restaurant side?
Straight into catering, and then let me think about this now. 5 years ago this fall, we acquired the restaurant space, and we
Okay.
thought that was a nice way for people to try the food that haven't had the food, because how do you know that you want someone to cater your dinner if you haven't eaten their
And
food?
catering's huge in Rhode Island as a whole. So
Huge.
Yeah.
And I kind of grew up with a mom who loved to entertain. She was a school teacher, and so she would be doing everything herself, and she would never get to relax and never get to. You all know this. Like the mom that's like running around for National Women's Day, which is today,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
The mom that does everything, that's like running around, like mopping the floor before guests come in and make it dirty, and then like cooking and cleaning and everything. So I was like, there's got to be an easier way. So we do things from as small as like coming and dropping off cheese platters to full-fledged catering.
So I was actually turned on to invite you in, but I've been to your place many times. But I was actually turned on from Derek at Nixon Bridal, who's a big fan of yours.
He's a pal. Hey,
So he's a great guy. So in doing this, when you went from being a chef to an owner, did you feel stressed? Was it a big jump for you? Did you start feel comfortable as you got? I mean, it sounds like you had a good transition.
So we joked about when Ashley took over being executive chef that I was retiring, and so.
But I got to imagine your input's still in there,
right? It's always there, but somehow she still squirrels out of doing things like this. This is not Ashley's forte. This is not what she enjoys doing. Although she's going to be sad she missed out on such great work.
So from the perspective that you're in now, you have the lunch and the dinner, and then you have the
Right.
private events.
Yeah.
But talk to me a little bit about your own private events, because I know that you just had a wine dinner the other night. I noticed that there's a wine dinner coming up.
There is.
And these are things that, from the
Yeah.
perspective of special events and the perspective of catering, it's a lot of what I want people to understand that chefs can bring to the table, because it's a needed thing.
Right.
It's a very needed thing.
Yeah, we like to offer curated experiences. So with catered events, you have a curated experience, and then when we're not super busy, which would be the winter, we have a lot of other experiences. So this Thursday we're having Vittorio, who owns Tremonti Vineyards in Italy, kind of near Imola. He's coming to the restaurant, and he's going to walk us through a bunch of his wines, and we're going to do a lot of food that's kind of Imola, Bolognese style cuisine, traditional from that area. So people can come and join and just taste wines, relax.
So when you do these dinners, and I know I'm a big fan of wine dinners, obviously,
right?
love wine, so I'm going all over the place, and my glass is
You need
empty.
more.
Yep.
You need more.
So when you do these wine dinners, do you guys take it from the educational perspective that your guests that you're bringing in and also your staff is truly educating people?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I had a couple guys in the restaurant today. They actually own Sweet Lumber around the street. I'm going to give them a shout out. And they're just starting to learn about wine. They're like inherently beer drinkers or liquor drinkers.
Right.
And as they come in for like our burger nights or something like that, wine, and they're like, oh, we don't want to come because a little is it stuffy?
Pretentious,
Is
right,
everybody swirling?
And that's why I asked, because
it's a great question. They're not like that at all. It's more for the winemaker to just tell you, like, this is how we grow the grapes. This is how the wine's made, and it's a great way to kind of learn about wine, especially if you're just, if you're just getting into it.
We just starting out.
But essentially, you just need to know if you like it.
So one of the things I have to say too about your establishment, and it's a compliment that I just gave to Chef Kingsford when he came in, is that the last 2 times that I've had, I think it was breakfast was one and lunch there, is that your staff is amazing at explaining. Like, and then my wife will tell you, I can kind of be a picky eater, even though I eat all the time, like everything. But I like to try new things,
Okay.
and I've had chefs along the way that have gotten me into new things. Your staff is awesome at that. Like, they
Good.
fully explain things, and I think that when it comes to wine dinners and special events of that kind, to be able to understand not just the wine, but why the food goes with the wine
Yeah.
is a huge component.
Yeah, and I think you learn a little bit about that, and that helps you when you go home, right? So just learning like simple things like pairing acid with acid,
Yeah.
and what you're going to serve with a dessert versus what you're going to serve with something at the beginning of the meal, and why they do things like that, and that's always easy to learn. And
So going forward, because
yeah.
you went from this whole progression to where you're at now,
Right.
any big plans in the future?
Oh boy, isn't that interesting? Well, we're hoping to expand a little bit where we are and accommodate more guests and accommodate larger events.
So go into a larger space?
Yeah, well, maybe reform where we are.
Ah.
Stay tuned, maybe. But what we like to do is we really, like, my life's work is really in celebrations. So whether you're coming to a wine dinner and you're having a night off, or you're hosting something in your home, or you're getting married, or you're having a baby, or we spend our life celebrating with people,
Absolutely.
really. And so I just want to have a space that's really conducive to that. And I'm glad to hear that the staff helps you figure out what you want to eat.
Staff is awesome.
Right?
I mean,
Because they eat it all, that's why.
And that's
They're probably
huge for
sitting
me.
there eating, watching this right now.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So one last thing, because you touched on the very beginning about the seasonality
Sure.
of things on the menu. So everyone that I brought in so far has had that appeal to this farm to table, which
Right.
has now become trendy, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I think in Rhode Island we had the ability that we started it sooner. And we have such a
Mhm.
great tourism base, and I mentioned before about all the conventions and celebrities and the
Sure.
colleges and stuff that we have here. I think that's something that's helped catapult Rhode Island to a new level,
Yeah.
even before this trendy theme to it.
Yeah.
But talk a little bit about your menus and the seasonality. Going
Yeah. So, having gone to school in Italy, that was something that was just the way it was. It wasn't like they really taught you that. You eat certain things in certain seasons of the year, and certain things are available, and certain things are not available. And so, learning that, bringing that back here, it was a pretty easy translation.
Okay.
One of the unique things about Rhode Island is everything's within our fingertips, right? So I can get to Blackbird Farm to get the
Right.
burger for burger night.
Which is
then
right down the street from my house.
Right? I mean, really, like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I can be downtown at the market getting fresh fish from the local catch. I can get stuff brought in from Tony's, where, like, literally we have everything within a really small radius. And so it makes it easy to have all these things. And over the past 10 years, our farmers have really been paying attention to what we need. From a restaurant standpoint, from a catering standpoint, greenhouse things are available to us in larger quantities and year-round.
And I've noticed that with and Blackbird's an example. It's
Yeah.
funny, I buy meat from Blackbird, and I buy my Christmas tree from Blackbird.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things that I've noticed is that they've kind of reinvested in themselves to increase the quantity that's available.
Absolutely.
Because now everybody's investing in that.
And people know
Yeah.
about it, and people want to be involved in it. So that's something that is really easy for us. I think one of the things which I'm sure you've probably talked about a lot on the program, is the Eat, Drink, Rhode Island Festival, which is coming up.
Yep, David Adikian does a phenomenal job.
That's one thing that we're really involved in, is to see, like,
100%.
artisans, wines, chefs.
And what's nice, and David's festivals are great, it's a huge asset to the culinary world, but what's
Yeah.
nice is that not just the locals, but tourists as well.
I think that's really cool. I
Yeah.
mean, we do, one of the events that we're lucky to do is Dinner by Dames for that, and it's a bunch of female chefs, and we kick off and all these kinds of things, and that is one of my favorite things, to kind of highlight a bunch of things in Rhode Island, and people get behind it. It's interesting how different people cook, how different people interpret, what a springtime first course is, or what a springtime second course is. So